how do you leverage the data from the satellites?
It's open data.
Okay.
So it starts off with open data, but by combining sometimes 8 satellites at a time, you get what we get to.
And the technology that you utilize to actually make this data into an information is your own technology that is being built.
Yeah, exactly. But it's been 20 years in the making.
Okay.
So it comes from an academic arena, like the Free University of Amsterdam, and in the last 3 years it has been upgraded, and IP has been filed, etc.
Right. So basically, this technology is prototyped for Vandersat, or is it like bought by Vandersat to be utilized?
No, it was made by us.
Okay, made by you guys.
This whole technology was made by the founders.
Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so do you say that this is we talked about not having a significant amount of competition in this space, just the sensors like you mentioned, but when we talk about barriers to entries, other companies trying to look at the success that this space has and try to get into the space, do you feel that this kind of, the technology that you have developed would be a kind of a source for you guys to have a competitive advantage over them?
Yes, most definitely, because you will be sued if you do the same.
Right.
So that's one.
Right.
Second, there's always competition, and we see some competition trying things, etc.
Right.
But you're talking about barriers to entry, and when you talk about satellite technology, and we work in a very, very specific niche,
right,
within the spectrum. So most satellites don't get a picture when it's cloudy, for example. We work with passive microwave, so we see straight through the clouds. And there are very few people in the world who understand this type of data.
Okay.
Very, very few. And then again, also working with satellite data, it's not like Google Maps. So barriers to entry are really, really big.
Right.
But will it happen? Sure. Right. I mean, at one point, but we have a large focus on R&D.
Right.
So our next products are already in the making. So that when a competitor pops up, we probably already have the next version or a new product available.
Right. So the R&D department is obviously a major source of building blocks of the company.
I think that 50% of our personnel is R&D.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And when it comes to your technologies, are there any challenges that you'll be facing with the technologies apart from keeping it from up to date, which is like a general, but something different, some different challenges that comes around to these technologies that you've developed to actually monitor the data?
No, nothing special. Nothing special.
So it's just.
I mean, we developed this technology, so we understand it like no other, and we maintain it, and we do R&D to continue building on it. But there are no big hurdles or obstacles. No.
Okay, so it's just the only usual keeping it up to date, and the fact that just getting it and changed according to the adaptations. That's the usual.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I'll just like to now shift your focus a little bit on how the company interacts with the outside market. So basically, if I talk to you about your major consumer segments, what is the consumer segment that the company is targeting?
We don't interact. We don't do BTC, never.
Right, but when you talk about B2B business dealings, what are the exact type of businesses that you guys look to target?
Yeah, so this is on the website too. We have four business lines.
Okay.
So agriculture, insurance, water management, and NGOs.
NGOs, water.
Yeah, like Red Cross. We work for the Red Cross, for example.
Okay.
But we work for the biggest agricultural companies in the world.
Right.
And we work for the biggest reinsurers in the world.
Right.
And we provide our services. But again, these are listed on the website.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there's not much to add there.
Right. And basically everything we understand that we talked about, everything is in-house and provided. But is there any key partners and suppliers to you guys which help? Maybe some companies that you hire, some business partners or suppliers, some partners if you talk about, some key partners and suppliers for the business?
Actually, no. No, we do everything in-house and everything by ourselves.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. And so if you talk about some legal expertise or something, everything is in-house, all legal financials. Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, so yeah, everything is here. And if it's not, then we hire people.
Okay. And basically, does a company, is at the stage where it is interacting with the ecosystem, the startup ecosystem as a whole, as in, if I throw some examples, that can be some events that the company is hosting or attending or partnering in some events or setting up like open office days with the university or something. Is something like that going around, No.
I mean, I think there's a big difference in we don't see ourselves as a startup.
Right.
I just heard you mentioning that name for the first time. We are not a startup.
Right.
We are a company. We're very Dutch in that. Mm-hmm. So we do not join that ecosystem. So every request we get from a startup, accelerator, facilitator, whatever.
Yeah.
We turn those offers down. So we don't like to be associated with that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, there is no interaction with the startup community.
Right. And so we've already talked about this. So the investment, all the investments that have been brought in the company. So early investment was by you yourself. So the founders invested. But have there been multiple rounds after that as well?
Sorry, the line is dropping there. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I'm just saying that there has already been. You said that the early investment was brought in by you.
Yeah.
So, but apart from that, can you shed a little bit more light on how the investment has taken place for the company, apart from the early founder investment?
Unfortunately, I can't. I cannot disclose on that. We don't like to publish our numbers or where the investments come from, etc. I mean, there is some available. We got some grant from Europe.
Okay.
I think 1.3 million. If you Google Van der Stad, you will find it. Mm-hmm. But next to that, the other investments I cannot disclose on. Okay. How much we have raised.
No, not a problem. Not a problem at all.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no, that would be. So it's just basically getting to know the company, how the company's evolved, what are basically the things that have actually been to make this company where it is today, and how the ecosystem has developed, maybe the investors or the talent. So it's just about the information that you can share. So it's nothing specific that you're looking out for. So that won't be a problem. Yeah. And what about the mentors or advisors? Those, do you guys hire again or get them on board, or do you approach them from the outside? Are they silent or they're active?
No, we don't have mentors or advisors.
Okay.
This is all. I see where you're coming from. You're coming from a very startup inspired. I don't know, your questions seem to be like that, but I mean that's not the way that companies work. I mean somehow it has been the last 5 or 6 years that there's been this startup hype, maybe even 10 years, all done by Facebook and whatever, Snapchat right. and all these kind of things. But this is not the way that companies work. This hype has been created around startups, and I have a very strong opinion on this. Mm-hmm. But this hype has been created around startups and how that works. But if you actually look at the success rate of these programs, and if you operate like that, they're extremely low. Failure rates are huge. And if you join these programs and communities and mentors and advisors, it's an ecosystem in itself. And I strongly believe that an ecosystem is there to pay all the consultants and advisors and mentors, etc., who want to be associated with that ecosystem, but it adds close to zero value.
Right.